Hey everyone, this is No Filter, a Nintendo podcast, and here is my Nintendo Switch accessory collection after 2 years of its release. I have quite a few accessories here, multiple of certain kind of categories, I guess you could say, multiple grip cases, multiple different Joy-Con holders, controllers, Joy-Con cases, all that kind of stuff, Starlink figures, all this kind of stuff here, even some separate docks that you can purchase. So yeah, this video is going to be going over every accessory, and I'll give you my suggestions for what you should have in your Nintendo Switch game collection and accessory collection. Starting with separate controllers for the Switch. So I have two separate controllers for the Switch that aren't just the Joy-Con combo. First off, I have here is the Pro Controller. This is one of the first runs of the Pro Controller, so the D-pad is actually pretty terrible. I actually really hate the D-pad, but I love the feel of the controller. The sticks feel great. The buttons are perfect size. Everything else about this controller is fantastic. The battery life is probably the best out of this whole generation. It isn't as good as the Wii U Pro Controller battery life, but yeah, the D-pad really sucks. So I love using the Joy-Cons actually for D-pad usage and stuff like that for 2D platformers and stuff like that. But yeah, Pro Controller is definitely good. I believe the later ones have kind of fixed the D-pad issues, but I'd suggest doing a little bit more research into that. I probably don't plan on getting another Pro Controller. I might actually send this one in to see if they can repair it, but maybe not. Next one I have here is the SF30 Pro 8-bit Do controller. So this is a third-party controller, 8-bit Do. They're pretty big company out there, and I love this controller. It's small enough that it fits in a lot of the cases that I have. It's got a cool little feel. It actually has the full functionality that you would want from a Switch controller. It's got screenshots, it's got home menu, start, select, all the buttons you would need, ZL, ZR, R and L. Yeah, and it's really nice. It's just a nice smaller controller. It doesn't have the whole grip, so it's not as comfy as some. But if you want a really good D-pad that isn't the Joy-Cons version of a D-pad and the terrible Pro Controller one, this is probably the best one that you can get out there. It feels really good. And yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of this one. This one's around $30 that I got it for, so that's definitely a good pickup for me there. Out of those two, I would suggest getting a Pro Controller, but getting one of the later ones. But if you are looking for a kind of a more retro feel and look, this SF30 Pro is pretty great, and I am looking at the new 8-bit Do controllers to get it. Next category I have are Joy-Con holders. So obviously I am a huge fan of the Joy-Cons. I really enjoy them. Just being able to rest them at your side like you did back in the Wii days with the nunchuck and the Wiimote. I absolutely love playing it like this, although I do find the range that they have for the actual joysticks are not nearly as good as they should be. But some of the holders that I have here are these that make it a lot more comfortable when you want to play with someone else. Essentially, you can just kind of fit that into the holder and you have that as support, and it works perfectly fine. It feels good, and yeah, it definitely makes a lot of the split screen multiplayer games much better than what they have right now. So yeah, that's a good one. I got this very cheap off of Wish. Next thing I got also off of Wish, I believe in the same package actually, are these little tiny little steering wheels. So I don't even have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on my Switch right now, but I got these with it. And again, this is very cheap for all of these. It's really just cheap plastic. You can even hear it. So yeah, I wouldn't really suggest these. If you really want to get like your kid something that they can, play Mario Kart with, this might be okay. Again, they are pretty cheap, but yeah, no, it doesn't really feel that great, and they're not that special or anything. One thing that I will use though, if I am going just Joy-Cons, is I will have a case or something over top of it. These are hard plastic cases. I actually don't really like the feel of these as much. It's just very tough to try to actually put these on, and they feel like they're going to break at times. But I do like having this because they add this little bit of space over top of it on the back, so it does feel more comfortable than how thin the actual Joy-Cons are, right? So you can actually see it gets much thicker, so it's more comfortable in your hand that way. Yeah, so those hard plastic ones I wouldn't really suggest, but I would suggest these silicone cover ones. I got these from GameStop for very cheap, a little more space actually there, and they're easy to put on. They feel really great. It's a nice silicone feel. It feels good, it's got the nice grip to it, and it's perfect for when you want to play Joy-Cons separated. It also feels good as well when you're playing it separately like this. If you want to play a game like that, it does feel good. So I would definitely recommend these if you're into playing the Switch with separated Joy-Cons. Then of course, obviously you have these that you can add to a Joy-Con when you're playing and slide on. But again, we got those with the Switch. One thing I did want to show you, actually with the Switch, another thing I got with GameStop, a big pack, are these dust blockers, I guess you would say. So these are pretty interesting. They're just rubber and they just slide on your Switch. So say you're playing a lot of the time with your Switch in the dock and the Joy-Cons out, you can block any dust from entering in your Switch. I also have one here for the headphone jack, and they have some for a lot of different locations. They'll have one blocking the USB, and it's just a nice little thing that I got. I think it was like $5 for a pack of a whole bunch of different things like that, so that wasn't too bad of a purchase. So those are all the Joy-Con holders that I have separately like that. So let's get into the grip case. Now we're getting to some of the meat and potatoes, some of the more essential items I think you should have for your Switch. So for portable play, you can get one of these silicone cases that has the built-in grips here that add in the grips, and it kind of wraps around the whole Switch. One thing you want to keep an eye out for is if you have these, will they fit into the existing dock that you have? A lot of them don't. Example A, this one is just slightly too thick. However, this is a cool version here. I got this actually off of wish.com again, where you can actually remove the back plates here, and you actually have different ones that you can replace in here. So you can have gray if you want it to be. It's also slightly less of a bump, but you'll find that some of these ones that you get off of Wish and stuff for cheap are not that great. My biggest suggestion for your Switch, and something that I think everybody should get, is the grip case, which I just showed you there in the top left there. So the grip case is amazing. It's got quite a significant more space here for your hand. It does have the exchangeable handles here that you can actually remove just by clicking those out and replace them with different kinds. They are all colored, and it'll just be a different form factor. This form factor is great. It feels really great on your hand. One thing I don't like as much as the others, but it's still perfectly fine, is it has covers that cover over top of the R and L buttons. It works fine. I'd almost prefer if it just kept it open up like these other versions have here, where you can actually just hit the button straight on. But that's not really a big deal at all. But yeah, this case is probably the best one that you can get out there for the Nintendo Switch. It's really, really fantastic. I'm a huge fan. It feels great in the hands, and it just, from Skull & Co., it's really great. So I'd highly recommend this grip case here. Brings me to the grip case's actual case. It's got a big storage space up here for everything. You'll see it's much wider and thicker than you would see in a lot of other cases that you might get. Almost double the size, but because of that, it will hold in a ton of stuff. So I have a whole bunch of cords up here. I'll have a USB-C, a screen cleaning cloth, some headphones. I'll have a ton of stuff in here. I'll have a wall outlet so I can charge, adaptive fast charging. It's got all the space for storing your Switch games. It has the flaps here to cover, and down here is where I would usually then include my 8-bit-do controller can fit under there, or I can include all this kind of stuff here, or you'll see in later here I can include a portable dock, which is pretty amazing. I have all these little thumb grips that I'd love to have on my Joy-Cons. I would actually suggest getting those for sure. I've been trying to find the best ones out there. I got these from GameStop when I was down in the States. They're okay, but I would find that they kind of fall off of the Joy-Cons a lot. You'll see they just have these 3 prongs that hold it together, whereas these ones that are more just rubber based and they just kind of sit on it, they kind of work pretty well, but they're just not as comfy, whereas these ones kind of elevate and allow for more range of motion on the Joy-Cons. But yeah, this case is great. It also has ways that you can set it up so that your Switch can charge while playing here. It has a little case, a stand here itself. One stand that I do have that I just can't find right now is the Hori stand. I don't use it as much as I used to, so I wouldn't really recommend it, but it is a pretty good stand itself. You'll see in the back there, I have the Zelda case as well. Because I usually have the grip case on if I'm going anywhere, I haven't really used that. That's why it's still in its packaging. And this is the Orsley case that I got when I first got my Switch before the grip case came out. It's pretty good, you know, it works for what it is, and it has all the kind of essentials that you would need. It doesn't have as great of a mesh pocket here, it doesn't have as much carry capacity, and you know, it's got these kind of rubber things, so it's not as good as the grip case one, which I highly recommend, but it does the job. Next item I want to talk about is the jump gate dock. So this is coming from the same creators as the grip case that I was just raving about, and this is a portable dock for much cheaper than the docks that you can get. At least in Canada, they're like $110, $120, which is just absurd, just ridiculous. So these are much cheaper, and this is what it comes with. This is where the magic happens, I guess you could say. This is the core drive. So this can be used not just for the Switch, but a lot of other things. Phone, laptop, but Switch is one of the main selling points, where you can literally just carry this around, have a HDMI and the charging cable for this, and you can play your Switch connected to a TV. Just this little piece here. But if you want a more stationary dock, there's always the actual dock that it comes with, which is pretty great as well in many ways, because it actually works perfectly with the grip case. By the way, that grip case that I was just showing you, the awesome grip case, that does fit in your dock, the existing one that comes with the Switch. It fits right in there, a little snug, but it fits perfectly. It doesn't scratch the screen or anything. But this dock here is made for the grip case as well, where you can remove this little rubber piece and then it'll sit right in there. Got this retractable, so it has the support that it needs for when you're putting it in. But yeah, this is pretty great. So essentially, you would just slide the core drive into the back here, and there you go. That's essentially it. That will now play your Switch games just like that. It's one of the best buys I've had for the Switch. I've been able to take this to friends' places and going to going to like my parents' place and playing with siblings and stuff like that. It's one of the best buys I've had for the Switch, and I absolutely love it. The thing I almost forgot to mention were screen protectors. I got an Orsley tempered glass screen protector right when I got my Switch, and it's been amazing. You don't even notice that it's on there. It fits perfectly. You can see slightly there, just through all the dust there maybe. But yeah, it's amazing. Don't even notice that it's on there. It's perfect. But you do get all the other screen protectors. Like the grip case gives you a screen protector and some accessories for it. It's like cloths and stuff like that. But these ones aren't as, I guess, proper as the tempered glass one would be, because I feel like these ones, they're more of like the film, right, that you kind of peel on and off. Yeah, I would definitely suggest the tempered glass Orsley screen protector. You can find it on Amazon for like $10. It's definitely. Next two things are kind of small, but I want to show you these. Getting one of these cases to hold your Switch games is always a fun thing to do, so you don't have to always go back to all the cases and open them up. So yeah, this carries quite a few. Just got it for cheap off of, again, I think Wish, or this might have been actually in one of the GameStop combo pack things, so very cheap, and it's pretty useful just to have all your Switch games in one place if they can't fit into your actual grip case. This came with the core drive that I had, so these are actually like a D-pad that you can cover over top of the JoyCon D-pads, and you can also add in colors to them if you want to, so that's just a cool little add-on that they gave me. This is the Taiko no Tatsuen Drum and Fun drum from Hori, which is awesome for that game. Just wanted to show you guys that as well. And finally, one of the more interesting pickups, I would say, that I don't think a lot of people bring up for the Switch is this stand here. So essentially, with the Switch being so portable and you can just have the screen anywhere, you know, you can have the Joy-Cons out in your hand or just have a Pro Controller playing it. One thing that I like to do at times if I'm being really lazy is I'll have this set up and I'll put this on my headboard. So over my head, it'll be like this, where the Switch would then be able to play. I can play the Switch like this. It'll be sitting over me, and I'll just be sleeping with my, with my you know, sleeping on my back and looking up, and here's the Switch screen right in front of my face, and it's pretty amazing. It's just a tablet holder, and it works super well. So like if you're you know, if you're playing before you go to bed or something like that, like you want to play some Zelda, you can have the, you know, the Joy-Cons in one in each hand, and you can just be looking up without having to hold it. If your arms are getting tired from holding your Switch up, or, you know, laying on your stomach or whatever, it's like the lazy man's like perfect Switch holder, and I think it's just an awesome pickup, and it's been awesome for me. It's really a lot of fun to play. There it is, guys. There's all of my Nintendo Switch accessories. Again, the ones that I would suggest you guys pick up for sure is the grip case, which comes with obviously that case there and the actual holder itself. I would also suggest the jump gate dock and the core bit here, because this is, again, this is pretty amazing. The fact that you can just play and have a much cheaper dock, and it's much more portable. It looks cooler. It's really quite something. These silicone Joy-Con holders here, I actually really enjoy these, being able to play separately and still have the comfortability of having that little back cushion there is always a lot of fun and much better to play. Doesn't hurt your hands as much over time. And of course, obviously, this tablet holder for if you have a headboard or whatever. Honestly, it's amazing. It's like the future. I feel like I'm, you know, like in like a VR space with my hands down to my sides, but then I'm just looking up and the screen's right there. It's hilarious, but it really is quite different. So I would suggest that if that piques anyone's interest. So anyways, guys, that is my Nintendo Switch accessories after 2 years. Let me know what you guys think, if I'm missing anything here that I should be showing you guys, if there's anything I should be picking up. You know, I love decking up my Switch with all these accessories, and it's just always a lot of fun to find something new that I can add to this repertoire of accessories for the Switch. So thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you all next time.